Many of my friends asked to borrow this book.
Najwan Al Ani flips through a tattered study guide for the first phase of the U.S. medical licensing exam.
So just to remind myself, sometimes I wrote a song or any kind, just to put the name of any disease or any medicine in a song to remind myself of this.
After she used the workbook to study for and pass the test in 2011, it's less a book and more a stack of pages saturated with highlighter ink. But Alani keeps it as a souvenir to commemorate her first stop in a years-long and nearly $10,000 journey to practice medicine again. The Iraqi refugee spent 7 years as a primary care physician in Iraq and Jordan. In the United States, she's starting at what seems like square one. Foreign-trained doctors must pass American licensing exams and compete for residency positions with fresh-faced medical school graduates before becoming full-fledged doctors again in the U.S. Alani's experience treating shrapnel wounds and delivering babies in a war zone doesn't put her at the front of the line.
Sometimes we faced like lack of electricity while we working. Especially for me, I faced like a case of delivery without any electricity. I need just a single flashlight to make this mom pass the delivery safely for her and her baby.
Alani says she and her colleagues worked under intense pressure during the early years of the Iraq War. Medicine and supplies were limited. The streets surrounding the hospital were so dangerous her chief resident was killed on the way to work. Now in the U.S., she's confronting those experiences once more, translating them for cover letters and mock interviews.
In a war circumstances, you face a lot of injuries, a lot of emergencies. This increases your skills and confidence and ability to work as a team.
Sophie Cheatham is helping Alani navigate the U.S. job market.
The path is long, it's arduous, it's incredibly costly.
She runs the Bridge to Employment program through the International Rescue Committee. Each year, it offers grants and guidance to 75 foreign licensed medical professionals who want to get back into the healthcare industry. Some first take jobs as taxi drivers and cashiers when they arrive in the U.S.
Initially, when refugees arrive into San Diego, they want nothing more than to find employment, to support their families, to lead self-sufficient lives, and so recertification isn't initially a priority for them.
Cheatham says her clients gain insight into the U.S. work culture through those early jobs. But for a nation already lacking about 16,000 primary care physicians, the benefit of having doctors drive people to the airport or run a checkout stand is less clear.
And what can I say? I mean, we need primary care physicians. Everybody knows that, and everybody says that.
Stephen Hayden heads UC San Diego's medical residency program. He says many of the nation's primary care residency positions go unfilled each year because the line of work isn't considered lucrative enough to pay down student debt. He says it might make sense to fast-track doctors like Alani, who's already expressed interest in practicing family medicine and whose schooling was paid for by the Iraqi government.
They'll still have to complete, at least with the current structure and the current rules, a primary care residency of some sort, internal medicine, pediatrics, family medicine, whatever it may be. But, especially given that some of these slots are more difficult to fill, I think it wouldn't be unreasonable to consider a program where these individuals would then fill some of those slots.
But streamlining the process for refugee doctors could be a tricky line to walk. Despite the trouble filling primary care residencies, Hayden says competition among U.S. med students is high.
We are getting to a point very soon. I've looked at the curves, and it looks like probably in about 2015, the number of U.S. graduates will exceed the number of first board residency slots that are available.
You have different kinds of specialties. I put check on the family medicine and internal medicine.
As Alani clicks through an online residency application system, she projects an unfaltering calmness. She says she doesn't mind being thrown into an overflowing applicant pool with graduates 10 years her junior.
In the medical field, you always feel like you are learning. It's a continuous learning for anybody. But to work with the people fresh graduated, I can be helpful with my experience. They could be helpful with their fresh knowledge. I think we will be a good team together. After all, it will be all good for the hospital and for the patients.
Alani will find out if she's matched with the residency program in March. Megan Burks, KPBS News.